Once again, class. So for today's presentation, we are going to talk about symbolic logic and the concepts and definitions of what is illogical statements and how we are going to convert a statement, a word statement into a symbolic statement using now the basic of symbols that is used in logic. So the study class of a symbolic logic uses letters to represent statements and special symbols to represent words or phrases like and, or, if then, if and only if, and the negation not. So these common terms or connectives, as what we call it in symbolic logic, has a special symbols that we used in logic. So what is a statement or what is a logical statement? So a statement class is a declarative sentence that can be objectively determined to be either true or false, but not both. So in other words, first that you're going to look into whether or not it is a logical statement is it should be a declarative sentence. So once that you identified that it is a declarative sentence, then the next thing that you're going now to look into or analyze is that can you tell whether or not the statement is true or false, but not both. Otherwise, even if the statement or even if the sentence is declarative, but if you cannot tell whether or not it is a true statement or a false statement, then it is not considered as a logical statement. So here we have an example. Most scientists agree that global warming is a threat to the environment. So the first questions that we're going to ask ourselves is this a declarative sentence? So yes, this is a declarative sentence. Then can you affirm or can you conclude that is this sentence a true statement or is it a false statement? So according to most scientists, these are experts about environmental, they agreed that global warming is a threat to the environment. So it suggests that there is truth about this statement. So this is considered to be a statement because it can be judged as true or false in a non-subjective manner. Now, example number 2, is that your laptop? Now, first, this is no longer a declarative sentence. It is an interrogative sentence. So it is a question. So automatically, this is not considered as a logical statement because it is a question. Third example is, man, that hurts. Now, is this a declarative sentence? So again, the answer is no, because this statement is an exclamatory sentence. Now, you have already an idea of what makes a logical statement a statement. So first, it should be a declarative sentence. Then you have to analyze carefully the statement, whether you can judge it as a true statement or a false statement, so that it would be considered as a logical statement. So another example here is that 432 plus 8 divided by 1.3 is 579. Now this one here is a mathematical sentence, and this is considered to be a logical sentence because you can actually um, evaluate whether the result is true or false. So if you're going to use your calculator, that 432 plus 8 divided by 1.3 is the result 579. So you can always verify if the answer is correct or not. So this is an example of a logical statement. So again, this can be judged as true or false in a non-subjective matter. Example number 5 is calculus is about database management. Now this is a declarative sentence, and we know that calculus is not database management. So this makes it a false statement. So this statement class or this sentence is a logical sentence or a logical statement in that matter. Now, if you're going to combine your statements by adding a connectives as what we called like and or if and then or if and only if, or sometimes even if it's a simple statement but you're going to negate the concept or the idea. So of course what we have is already what we call a compound statement. So this is simply a combination of several simple statements by using connectives. So statements can be classified as simple or compound. A simple statement contains only one idea. So it means class that when you read the statement, okay, so it only conveys one idea. So for example, your jeans is color blue. So this is only talking about your jeans, whether it's color blue. So you can verify this one, whether it's true or not. As of the day, if you are really wearing a jeans, then you can now verify whether it's blue or not. Second example of a simple statement is that my room has pile of books. So it's only referring to your room that has pile of books. So this is a simple statement. Or, Kayangan Lake is in Coron, Palawan. So this is a declarative sentence stating that Kayangan Lake is found in Coron, Palawan. When we say compound statement, like for example here, I am taking mathematics in the modern world this semester and I am going to get at least 95 as my grade. Now this one is considered to be a compound statement because it is formed from more than one simple statement. Here we have one simple statement, I am taking mathematics in the modern world this semester. Now this will verify whether this is true or not if you are really enrolled. And the other statement is that I am going to get at least 95 as my grade. So again, this is another statement. And when we combine two or more simple statements, the result is what we call a compound statement. So a compound statement class, it is a statement that is formed by joining two or more simple statements with a connective. Now, when we say connective class, these are English terms that we usually use. And in logic, these are the four basic connectives. Okay, so we have the conjunction. So the word conjunction as a connective class is using the word and to connect the two simple statements, but it is symbolized by your inverted V. Because later on class, we are going to use symbols to represent the connectives. The disjunction as a connective is using the word or, and it is symbolized by your letter V, while the if and then statement is what we call the conditional as a connective, and it is symbolized by an arrow pointing to the right. And the fourth connectives that we usually use is the biconditional, and it made use of the connectives if and only if as a statement, and it is symbolized class with a two-directional arrow to the left and to the right at the same time. So these are four common connectives that we usually use to combine two or more simple statements. So say for example here, if you're going now to identify what type of connectives we are using here. So John studied for 5 hours and he got a grade of 90. So we have two simple statements here. Is either one statement is John studied for 5 hours. So you can verify whether this is true or not. And the other one is he got a grade of 90. This is referring to John got a grade of 90. So again, you can verify whether it is true or false. Then combining using the connective and, then what we have is already a compound statement that John studied for 5 hours and he got a grade of 90. So this is a conjunction as a compound statement. Another example is a disjunction using the word or as a connective. I am going to pass this class or I am going to change my major. So the word or is a disjunction. So this is our connective or. So again, the second example is what we call a disjunction compound statement. So here we have two ways of writing a conditional the word if then is present. So if I get 95% of the questions on the final exams right, then I will get a grade of 95. So using the if-then statement, this is what we call a conditional, which is compound. Now, sometimes class, it is shortened, removing the word then, but the word if is retained. So we can also use this one. If I get 95% of the questions on the final exams right, I will get a grade of 95. So this is the same as the first one, only we usually remove the word then. So what is important is there is now the condition of the word if that remains. Because if you are going now to remove the word if and the word then, it would be I get 95% of the questions of the final exams right, I will get a grade of 95. So you cannot tell what type of compound statement is this. It could be any, it could be and, it could be or. So if you put the word if without the word then, still it is a conditional as long as there is the word if. And of course, if you're going to use the if and only if as a connective, so this is a biconditional. So we will win the game if and only if we score more points than the other team. Now this is a biconditional because it made use of the word if and only if. Now if you're going to spell this, okay, using the conditional, it makes it very, very long statement. So that's the reason why class it's called biconditional, because its direction is both left and right. Now if I'm going to, let's say, read this again using two conditional, okay, so this is how it reads, okay, using two conditionals. If we will win the game, then we score more points than the other team, and if we score more points than the other team, then we will win the game. So if you use that statement to combine two conditionals by uh, interchanging now which one comes first and which one comes second, then if you're going to shorten that, then the result is the biconditional, which is better, and we just use the word if and only if. Okay, now how are you going to let's say identify which of the statements is considered to be simple and which one is to be compound? So as I said, you have to look first for any connectives used. If we have encountered like the word or, and, if then, or if and only if, then we know that the statement is a compound statement. Otherwise, it is a simple statement. So here we have the following statements. So the University of Baguio mascot is a cardinal bird, or tomorrow is the last day to register for a class, or GeoGebra is an informative website in learning math, and yesterday was the deadline to withdraw from a class. So all of these are simple statements because we do not see any connectives. Now, for a compound statement, we can identify. So if you register for Wi-Fi service, you will get 3 days of free access. Now there is the word if, so this means that it is conditional. And this gives us an idea that it is a compound statement from the if-then statement. Thus, this statement class is a compound statement. So if you register for Wi-Fi service, you will get 3 days of free access, which is the same as if you register for Wi-Fi service, then you will get 3 days of free access. Another one, in the interest of saving the planet, I plan to buy either a hybrid or a motorcycle. So here we see a connective using the word or. So this is an indication class that it is a compound statement. So in particular, this is a disjunction because it made use of the connective or. So this statement could be restated simply as I will buy a hybrid or I will buy a motorcycle. So we can usually rewrite it to simplify, okay, and that is possible. So which makes it a compound statement, and it is a disjunction because it made use of the word or as a connective. Now, we have other examples here. My jacket is both warm and light. Okay, although class, of course, you have your English subject, but in math, sometimes it's very awkward also to write a statement, but that's how it is, okay? So my jacket is both warm and light, rather. So you can rewrite this as my jacket is warm and my jacket is light. So here you can easily now see that there are two statements and it made use of the connective and this makes it a compound and a conjunction in particular. Okay, so although it's awkward to read in this manner, like my jacket is warm and my jacket is light, so it seems that it's redundant. So sometimes we have to rewrite it in a way that it is, uh, let's say, easy to understand. Okay, so my jacket is both warm and light. It's the same as my jacket is warm and my jacket is light. Another example of a compound statement is I'm going to eat at Jollibee or McDonald's today. So again, you can rewrite this as I am going to eat at Jollibee or I am going to eat at McDonald's today. So again, there are some redundant statements. So what is important here is you identify that you have the connective or. So this is a disjunction. And of course, the third example here is if it doesn't rain tomorrow, I'm going windsurfing. So because there is the word if, even if there is no word then, so because we identified that there is the if condition, so this is a conditional connective. So again, this is a compound statement. So since you have already an idea class of a compound statement, so when you combine two or more simple statements using these four connectives, then if you're going to ask, okay, let's say, or evaluate these compound statements, whether it is a true statement or a false statement. So sometimes class, it's best for us now to give a symbolic notation to the compound statements. Okay, one way to do this is, of course, to represent a statement with a letter, then the four connectives are used by a special symbol. So in this case, class, we have here the five symbols that we used. We have here the inverted V, which is now the conjunction and. You have your disjunction or. You have your if then, which is a conditional, and you have your if and only if, which is a biconditional. You notice here you have a tilde. This is actually a special symbol to represent negation. So when you negate a certain statement, then you have to put the symbols. In other words, you are stating that you have to negate the statement. So we use these symbols to represent now the connectives, including your negation. Then we symbolized the statement. So the negation of the statement is simply a corresponding statement with the opposite truth value. So this means that if the statement is true, then its negation is false. And if the statement is false, then its negation is true. So if we have here some examples of the statement, like tomorrow is Saturday, then you negate it, tomorrow is not Saturday. So do not say that tomorrow is Sunday, but you don't need to change any of the original statement. It's either that you're going to negate it other by removing, okay, the word not, or by adding the word not. So tomorrow is Saturday, its negation is tomorrow is not Saturday. I took a shower today, then its negation is I did not take a shower today. My hands are clean, then its negation is my hands are not clean. Do not say that my hands are dirty. So remember, clean and dirty are opposite words, but we do not change the original statement. We simply add or we subtract the word not or no. Okay, so you are not from Baguio. Now, this one here, this is the original statement. So, how are you going to negate this? So, you are going to remove the word not. So, you are not from Baguio. Its negation is you are from Baguio. Rather than saying that you are not from Baguio. So, there are redundancies of the word not. I am not happy. So, if this is the original statement, then its negation is I am happy. Okay, so that's how we negate class a statement. Okay, now as I said, because we are using symbols, so the main goal in studying a formal logic class is for us to evaluate the logical arguments objectively. So we need to convert the statement into symbols. The statements will be represented by letters, usually small letters, but sometimes we also use capital letters. And the connectives are using these symbols. So every time that you will see the symbols, so you must know, class, what connectives we are using and what are the names of the connectives. So again, and as a connective, the symbol is inverted V. The name of the connective is conjunction. If you encounter the word or as a connective, it is symbolized by letter V. The name of the connective is disjunction. And if-then statement, this is the connective. The symbol is an arrow pointing to the right. And this is what we call conditional. And if and only if as a connective symbolizes by the double-edged arrow, and the name of the connective class is biconditional. So simple statements, as I said, are usually denoted with lower cases like PQRS or ABCD or XYZ. But sometimes, class, we also encounter capital letters. Okay, so it depends on the use of the authors. Ayan. Now here we have statements like P is a statement that it is read as it is cloudy, while Q is another statement and it is a statement that says I will go to the beach. Then how are you going to write these two statements using the symbols? I will not go to the beach. So, because there is the word not, which is actually a negation of your Q, then what you do is you're going to negate it. So, you are going to put the tilde, then the Q. Because remember, class, your Q is I will go to the beach. And here, I will not go to the beach, which is the negation of the original statement. So therefore, this statement, I will not go to the beach, class, is represented by not Q. So we already symbolize it. Okay, then for the second example, it is cloudy and I will go to the beach. So here you have to identify which one is P, which one is Q. So in this case, it is cloudy is your P. I will go to the beach is your Q. And the word and as the connective is actually symbolized by your inverted V. So the statement, it is cloudy and I will go to the beach, is denoted by P and Q as the symbols. And for the third example, it is cloudy or I will go to the beach. Again, you need to identify which one is your P, which one is your Q. And if there are some negations, then we have to put the necessary symbols. So in this case, there is no negation. However, there is a connective or, and this is the symbol for or. So this statement, it is cloudy or I will go to the beach, can be symbolized logically by the statement P or Q. Okay, so now you already have an idea on how we usually symbolize a compound statement using this special symbols class. So another examples, if then, so there is the word if then. So now I know that this is your conditional. So the arrow to the right is the appropriate symbol. So it is cloudy, that is your P. I will not go to the beach. This is a negation of your Q. So we have our not Q. So therefore, this can be symbolized as P. If P, then not Q. So the statement if P, then not Q is actually referring to if it is cloudy, then I will not go to the beach. Then the other example here, there is the word if and only if. So this is your biconditional. So I will go to the beach is the first statement. This is your Q. Then it is not cloudy. So this is the negation of your P. So we have to put the tilde before the P. Then we combine. So we have now the symbols Q, if and only if, not P. Meaning, I will go to the beach if and only if it is not cloudy. Okay, so that's usually how we symbolize class the statements, especially the compound statements. Now we do the reverse, okay? So the same, we have our P as the statement, the suspect is guilty. Q is the statement, the witness is lying. Then we can write each statement in words. So there are many ways of stating, okay, in words, okay? You can stick to the rules, even if you read it awkwardly, it's fine. Okay, so here we have the symbol, not P. So in other words, you are going to negate the suspect is guilty. So your answer will be the suspect is not guilty. Okay, another one. We have P, this is or, this is your disjunction, P or Q. So you can just say that the suspect is guilty or the witness is lying. Okay. Now this one here, you have your not P, then you have your arrow to the right. So this is your conditional. So this is if not P, then Q. So if your P is the suspect is guilty, but since it is negated, then you can put the word not. And it would be now, if the suspect is not guilty, then the witness is lying. And another one is this symbols, double-edged arrow. So this is your biconditional. So we use the word if and only if. So P, if and only if Q, then you write it as the suspect is guilty if and only if the witness is lying. Okay. And of course, we also have here P and Q. So this is the symbol for and. So this is your conjunction. So the appropriate connective class is and. So therefore, it would be the suspect is guilty and the witness is lying. Okay. And that's it. So again, I'll see you for the next lesson class, which will be now finding the truth values of your compound statement. See you again, class. Bye-bye.